It's time to pick a side. The border war is on the air with BG and TanMan. Welcome in, true believers, to episode 93 of the Border War. It is our NFL playoff, well, I won't say wrap-up show. We've got 1 week of the playoffs left. We will be talking about the Dallas Cowboys not scoring as many points as the Los Angeles Rams, and we will be previewing.
You don't have to be ugly about it.
Well, I thought that was a very factual statement. I didn't say
it's just the
getting
tone,
their tails
it's
whooped.
just the tone of your voice.
The tone of my voice is professional.
Didn't appreciate it.
It has excellent timbre, I've been told. And we will be talking about this week's NFC and AFC title game. Games?
Any real shocker?
Well, no. I mean, the only, I'll tell you, the only real shocker is that there weren't any shockers. When you look, it's not often that we go chalk in the NFL. I mean, 1-2 versus 1-2, but that is the case this year. So let's talk some Cowboys football.
Let's get this out of the way.
I don't know, man. Well, I mean, I don't think the game was quite as close as it ended up being.
No, it wasn't.
And let me just say, I don't think we need to overdo this. You guys had a good year, but here's the bottom line: they're a better football team. They're a better football team. It wasn't being away. Y'all might have had as many fans there as they did. I don't think it was an away game thing that cost you the game.
No,
I think I was. If you really want to pinpoint a football reason for it, I was frankly shocked that they ran the ball and you guys they ran it, and that was really the game.
That was it. They came right out from the word go, punched us right in the mouth up front, dominated the trenches.
Over 200 yards, almost 300 yards rushing. What, 260 something, 270 something.
We'll pull it right
I know both of the primary backs, C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley, both had over 100.
They clearly.
How old is C.J. Anderson?
400. Or no, that's pounds, not acres. No, they clearly listened to the show last week where we said,
"Look, we knew that anyway."
When we said, "Look, I think the Cowboys can take advantage of them up front. They're not that great at defending the run. Their secondary is suspect. I think we could hit them up front and use the play action, and take some shots downfield." And clearly, that motivated the Los Angeles Rams because they held Ezekiel Elliott to less than 50 yards. I don't know that we really he got 20 carries, but I don't know that we were really all that committed to sticking with it. Does that make sense? Like I don't think that we were as committed to the running game. But when you fall behind like we did that second quarter where the rails kind of came off.
Well, and I also think it was an admission that you weren't going to beat them by trying to beat them at the thing they were beating you at. Yeah. So if they're running the ball like they are, you can't outrun them. So I think it was just that twitch that gets in a play caller's head that we're not going to be able to outscore these guys.
I mean, look, you hit the nail on the head to start off with. Look, I don't know that there was really much we could do Saturday night that was going to result in us having a game.
It didn't
on Sunday.
It didn't feel like you played a bad game. It just felt like
they were just
they're a better football team.
They were just better than we were Saturday night.
And we've been saying it all year. I mean, I had the Rams in the Super Bowl to start the season, even though you inexplicably convinced me to pick Dallas to win this game. I mean, I don't even know what. I feel like you put something in my chair wine.
Judging by your picks, every team that you picked. I know we pick against the spread, but every team that you picked lost last week.
Well,
every single one.
Well, because I picked road wins, and I was wrong.
Oh man, but no,
But you make it sound like there were 63 of them. I mean, there were 4 games.
I know, and every single one, every one of them.
Okay, and how many were you wrong about?
2.
Okay,
I was one. I was.
I
was wrong about one less game than you.
One fewer game. So you finally passed me in the standings.
I've been past you all year, man. Start to finish, man. Start to finish. Walk the dog on you all year. I don't think numbers wise, I don't think you can catch me now.
I'm surprised you even let me stay on the show.
Well, listen, I've debated that.
Because I know you enjoy doing a show solo.
I've debated about just making it the TanMan Power Hour and cutting you out of the pie.
We're not paying for an hour. We only get 45 minutes.
But no, the other thing, I don't think it's happened yet. Jason Garrett got a lot
fired.
Joe,
I didn't know what you meant.
He got a lot of criticism about some of the.
Should I tell my Jason Garrett joke again, or like I did in the basketball show? Should I do it?
You can if you
feel it. Did you think it was funny?
I mean, they may not listen to episode 92. They may only want to listen to episode 93.
Okay, my buddy Matt from Sparkleburg, South Carolina, texted me the other day. What was that?
What?
Why are you booing Matt?
I'm just booing you off the stage. Tell a joke.
Well, I mean, how can I? How can I? No, just texted me. I think it was last night, actually. That, somewhere in the state of Texas right now, Jason Garrett is clapping.
Well,
that's going to be really loud, isn't it? Because I did that right at the mic.
He's always clapping. But Terrell Owens came out after the game.
Hit the laughter button for Matt's joke.
Sorry, that's the wrong one.
You're an idiot.
Whatever.
Sorry, that's the wrong one.
Matt listens to the show, too, and listen to you.
Hey,
Look
Matt,
at you.
All right. Woo! Way to go, Matt.
Talk about the Cowboys losing some more.
Terrell Owens tweeted out, he was very aggressive if you saw the tweet. Jason Garrett's got to go now. People are still clapping.
How long was that thing? God.
15 seconds. Unfortunately,
he's not going.
He's not going, guys.
No. That's why he's clapping.
We said it, weeks ago when they kind of started getting turned after the Mari Cooper trade and they started winning some games.
Even if they had lost last week, he wasn't going anywhere.
I told you, I said, I don't feel great about this. I said, because we're going to get this thing turned around. We're going to get in the playoffs, and then we're going to get stuck with Jason Garrett for another 3 years.
Let me tell you something,
That's exactly what's happening.
Let me tell you something. And I think you know this, but I think you need an intervention. You need somebody to look into your eyes and say this to your face. All right, so you love the idea of Sean Payton coming to Dallas at one point, right?
Oh, gosh, yes.
Okay, do you understand what would happen if Sean Payton had to deal with Jerry Jones? Have you ever watched Sean Payton on a sideline? Sean Payton owns that sideline.
We would be amazing. That would be an amazing partnership.
You could be amazing. Jerry Jones, unfortunately for you guys, has exactly the kind of coach he loves. Docile,
a clown,
and pleasant.
A clown.
And when the front office tells Jason Garrett, this is how it's going to be, yes, sir, Mr. Jones. That's exactly. And so I hate it, but there you are. Jerry Jones, much like Daniel Snyder in Washington, stands firmly between your storied franchise and any level of high success. It is well documented that he had it made. Jimmy Johnson could have stayed another 10 years. You would have won 2 more Super Bowls, but he couldn't handle Jimmy Johnson getting the credit. And ever since then, look at what happened with Parcells. The whole quote about let me buy some of the groceries, that was to Jerry Jones. He cannot have a high-level coach.
Look,
it doesn't work.
Either way, all the Cowboy fans, much like myself, who were begging and praying that perhaps whenever the end came to the season, that it would come in such a fashion that we would be left with no other choice but to come to the realization that the path we are currently traveling down with this coaching staff is not sustainable. And unfortunately, I think some late touchdowns had to make that score look a whole lot closer. I tweeted out at one point before Dallas scored to cut it to 1 score. I said, if you're watching this game and think that this is a 2-touchdown football game, you are kidding yourself.
Yeah.
That was a 4-touchdown
away at that way.
That was a 4-touchdown game if it was anything.
Well, look,
but this path we're going down is not sustainable. Unfortunately, I dread the fact that the news of an extension are coming, and next year will be what it is. And hopefully we can do enough to overcome the deficiencies that we have on the sidelines. But if you saw Saturday and you've seen anything over the last 10 years, that is not highly likely. I think there is a glass ceiling,
No, I
unfortunately,
agree.
I think we're on it.
I think you actually might be a little above it. I think losing in the first round of the playoffs is probably more like what you're going to get out of Jason Garrett.
Yeah.
3 times out of 4. Watching the Redskins in worse shape. We shopped all week for a defensive coordinator, let everyone else get hired, and then announced today that we're going to keep the guy that we basically had already fired.
You want Jason Garrett?
No. I mean, but my point being, and I keep coming back to this, man, the football in the NFL is just a byproduct of this front office's. And our front office right now is the most dysfunctional thing that I've ever seen.
Look, here's the unspoken truth that Cowboys and Redskins fans don't want to admit to themselves a lot of time. We're the same dang team, man.
We've talked about that.
We're the same team. We're the same organization.
The only difference is our success came in the 80s, yours came in the 90s, and after both were said and done, hey, man, I saw a tweet this week. I don't know if I tagged you in it or not. I retweeted it. There are 3 teams, count them, 3 in the NFC that have not been to the NFC title game in the past 20 years. The Lions,
Cowboys,
and the Redskins. And the difference between, and you might say, okay, well, that means no, we're not like the Lions. Neither one. Look, TanMan and I jab at each other's teams a lot, but here's the bottom line. The Cowboys and the Redskins are one of a handful of teams, 2 of a handful of teams in the NFL that have won multiple Super Bowl titles. We are not the Detroit Lions.
No.
But
historically, we're not the
Detroit
Lions.
But you are exactly right. Right now, we are 2 of the most disorganized franchises in the world. The only reason I think you guys are better off is because Dan Snyder is in his late 50s. He's going to live longer than Jerry Jones. Jerry's got to die at some point. You guys will probably be okay. He might not be. You're right, man. He could be undead now. I mean, his skin is very taut on his face.
He could be like 180 now. We have no idea.
He's going into some hyperbaric chamber, sipping the blood of innocent children at night to stay alive. Who knows?
There's no telling.
But Dan Snyder's not going anywhere. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I have fantasies about him being convicted of insider trading or something. Because how did he get all that money?
I don't know how.
Because he's worth more than Jones is.
I didn't know how.
He's worth $17 billion. I mean, and you feel like he just bought the Redskins, kind of like, I want a team. I mean, I just want him gone. Gone.
As far as we're concerned, both of us are concerned. The NFL season is now officially
and my backup team got boat raced.
Oh, God, that's what we're going to get to.
Boat race.
We're done. You guys have been done. So let's talk a little bit about what else we saw this weekend. Not a lot that was...
I made the cardinal sin of questioning Tom Brady.
Not a lot that was that great.
I questioned Tom Brady and I paid the price.
You questioned Tom... Listen, I took the Chargers too.
Sometimes you feel like you've been riding something all season.
Did you have any idea it would look like that?
No. I mean, I'm not at all surprised that they went up there and lost. And I had forgotten that they had played an East Coast game the week before, too. The deck was stacked against them a little bit, but nobody goes into New England and wins a playoff game.
The thing that got me about that game is San Diego never made any attempt whatsoever to change anything.
Yeah, and
they stood back there, 12 yards off the receivers, playing the zone, and Tom Brady just said, "Okay, thank you very much." And before you know it, it's like 38-3 or something.
Do you feel like it was sort of an admission of if we do too much differently, they're going to beat us even worse? Let's just keep this respectable and get the hell out of here.
It wasn't respectable. The first ball game, it was 35-7 at halftime.
Exactly
There was nothing about that first half respectable. I think it was just hard-headedness. I think it was being bullheaded on the part of the Chargers staff. A couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter made that thing look a whole lot better than what it was. I hate it for Phillip Rivers. I really wanted to see Phillip Rivers make a run. But you kind of feel like at some point chances are going to run out for those guys. I hope this wasn't the last chance for them.
You go back to the day that Rivers ended up there and that draft moment, right, where Archie Manning And I think it kind of got leaked, basically saying, look.
No, they didn't get leaked. They flat came out and said, I don't want him going to San Diego.
And people laugh. Look, people laugh about the Giants right now, whatever. Look, the bottom line is they won 2 Super Bowls, right? Mm-hmm. Both times beating a team that no one else seems to be able to beat in a Super Bowl. All right, with let's just say it. I mean,
if Phillip Rivers had gone to New York,
right,
he'd have 2 Super Bowls.
He might have 3. I mean, I really think he'd at least have 2. You're right about that. He'd have won those 2.
He'd have a couple.
But that gets to that point of like you wonder. Archie Manning's an NFL insider guy. Maybe there's stuff that goes on in San Diego / Los Angeles that there's something to all.
Well, I think that franchise has been another one of those teams historically that has not been that well run. Like ownership has not been great. Like it's just not been a great situation. How Phillip Rivers has had the career that he's had out there with that is nothing short of amazing. Like I said, I just hate that.
Phillip Rivers is a Marine with a football. I think he's just got that rattlesnake blood in him, and he one of the biggest competitors in the NFL. I mean, I think he's just that kind of player. But
the other half of the AFC this
and look at Dan Fouts, man.
Who?
Dan Fouts.
He was dead before I was born.
He's not dead now. But my point being is he did the same thing. He was a Charger for years and years. Didn't sniff a bit of it. Legendary careers. I mean, like you've had 2 of the best 30 quarterbacks in NFL history.
Who else did that you just mentioned?
I mean, lots of guys.
Archie Manning.
That's exactly right.
He saw that and was like, all right, I want something better for my kids.
Yep, that's right. Speaking of the Saints, though, they've managed to turn that thing around a little since Archie's days.
Just a tad.
Just a little.
With our
quarterback that no one else wanted.
With our former coach is what they did. Which one you want to hit up next? We talked about the Rams. You want the Saints? You want the Chiefs?
Let's do the Chiefs.
All right. The other half of the AFC. Man, you were ready to jump all over that Colts wagon last week.
Well,
so was everybody else.
I let history speak a little bit too loud, and I've been saying all year that Patrick Mahomes, the kind of thing he's got going on with that arm is not a fluke, and it's not going to go into a slump. Did you see that sidearm throw?
I've seen it every week.
And it comes off of his hand like a fastball. I don't even understand it. What happened at Texas Tech when he was? How did he lose? What went on there?
Because Texas Tech is one of those schools.
I know they don't stop people from scoring.
Yeah, they're one of those schools.
Neither does Kansas City.
That other than that one year, I think they had Graham Harrell, where they finished in like a 3-way tie for their division with Oklahoma and somebody else, maybe been Texas, and they lost out on going to the championship game. Lost the tiebreaker. Other than that one year, they win like 8 games. 9 games. I mean, but Mahomes, man, he flat tore up that Colts secondary. And here's the one that jumps out at me for the Chiefs. They send Kareem Hunt home and spearhead the tanking of my fantasy football team. And they replaced him with Spencer Ware, who they didn't really want already.
Right.
And Saturday, that was Saturday. Damian Williams gives the Chiefs 129 yards on the ground, man. This is an offense that is flat on fire.
But I'll tell you what, that wasn't the story of the game to me. To me, the story of the game was the Kansas City defensive line, who, for the first time this season, decided, hey, let's tackle people. Because that Indianapolis Colts front 5, their offensive line, I mean, all we heard all week is how they had become the premier offensive line in football. Man, they couldn't do anything.
Well, yeah,
they couldn't do anything.
The other day on First Take, if you've heard Ryan Clark, I mean, he's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
He's fantastic.
Another guy who, like that, could be in the Redskins front office, but nah.
He has certainly found his niche on the TV screen, no doubt.
He needs to be in Landover, Maryland is where he needs to be.
He made the point the other day on First Take watching it that the Indianapolis Colts everyone talked about their offensive turnaround. They had played like the 7 worst defenses in the league.
Right.
And kind of padded those numbers a little bit. And same thing with the Chiefs. How they had played some offenses that had put up some numbers. Maybe their defense ain't quite as bad as everybody made it out to be. They certainly didn't look like it the other night.
Well, they were, though, for the majority of the season, ranked dead last in the NFL. You can't tell me that there wasn't something to that.
But maybe it was over-exaggerated at times.
People like to say, look, football's a game of matchups. maybe the matchups just were not in Indianapolis's favor. And I think, too, guys like me telling them all week, you guys are going to lose this game, you can't win a home playoff game, I think that might have contributed a little to it, too.
Tad. And the last one on the slate on the NFC side, it was the last game Sunday. The Saints knock off the Eagles. The Eagles jumped out 14-0. And I'll admit, I'm watching this thing going, holy cow. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And after that, the Saints defense locked in. The Eagles don't score another point. Drew Brees opens up with an interception, and he quickly turns things around. And there's Gamecock receivers.
Yep.
They stink.
Yeah,
they stink.
Yeah.
A Gamecock receiver cost the Eagles a return trip to the Super Bowl. It cost them another Lombardi trophy.
I think you're overstating that a little.
Never. No.
Okay.
It's Alshon Jeffrey's fault.
All right, man. I mean, you know what? I'm going to get triggered if we keep that conversation up. So I'll let you have it. It's all good. I'm going to be above all this.
Why?
Huh?
It's not the border friendship.
Well, I mean,
it's not the border buddies.
Yeah, but we're not. I mean,
it's the border war.
We're not going to argue. Well, I mean, I can't think of any North Carolina receivers to blame anything on because I don't think there are any in the NFL. But whatever.
Hakeem Nicks was there and won a Super Bowl.
Alshon, and he dropped a football. He dropped a football. That's about all you can say.
It went right through his hand.
He catches that pass.
Marshawn Lattimore is just right there when it goes to his hand.
Yeah. I mean,
there's nothing you can do.
I mean, he had a great catch in the Super Bowl last year, which was, of course, this is how it goes, a much harder catch. And that's how it usually works out. But Alshon, throughout his career, is one of those guys who has a reputation for having excellent hands, and it clearly hit him pretty hard. It clearly hit him pretty hard.
Yeah, the Saints, like I said, they got off to a rough start. They hung in there. We had a feeling that this thing was going to be a whole lot closer than what the last one was. But they advance on to the NFC title game. On the Eagles side, a lot of discussion about Nick Foles.
Well,
what they should do with Nick Foles.
They can't re-sign him.
Well,
I mean, then he has to go, doesn't he? I mean,
both sides, the team and him, can exercise or void the number for next year. I guess they could tag him, but are you gonna? Carson Wentz is still on a rookie deal, so it's not like you're paying two quarterbacks.
They can afford.
You can afford to tag him, but do you really want to deal with this Nick Foles, Carson Wentz?
I tell you, though,
it seems to be working for them, but at some point you got to make a decision. Do you really want to do this again for a third year and risk?
And the real question is, what can you get for him?
Well,
I mean,
if you tag him,
then it becomes very easy to try to.
If you tag him, I don't think you get much of anything. I think the window, much like the Kemba Walker talk, I think the window to trade him is kind of closed. You should, if you were going to do that
this time last year,
you would have done it this time last year. The flip side of that is, if you had made that trade, in hindsight's 2020, we're not sitting here today talking about the. They're here now.
I mean,
because of him.
Is Carson Wentz's ability to stay healthy becoming kind of a concern at this point? I mean, it's 2 seasons. He hasn't finished either one of them.
Well, that's an interesting point because it's not like we're talking about Carson Wentz and a quarterback who's 36 years old. Like Nick Foles is like 28, 29. I mean, he's got a lot of years.
He looks like he's 48, but he's 29.
Yeah, he's still got conceivably some years of good football. The question I would kick back to you is, do you trust, if you're a team, how much do you trust that this is Nick Foles?
Let's be fair. It's not hypothetical. If you're Jacksonville and Denver, and there ain't anybody else. That's who's going to get. If anybody gets him, it's one of those two teams.
All right. If you're one of those two teams, how much? Because we've seen Nick Foles before, and
he hasn't. Terrible. And just to rob Mike and not Mike from this morning, he hasn't looked like he's looked in Philadelphia anywhere else.
That's what I was going to say.
He's been terrible.
We've seen
everywhere.
We have seen him look awful, minus that 1 year with Chip Kelly, his first stint in Philadelphia. Other than that, he's been mediocre to bad. How much belief do you have that you're getting this Nick Foles as opposed to that one? Because there's been a lot of talk that a lot of this is him being paired up with Doug Peterson, not necessarily his ability.
And I think that is true, but I think you have to remember the desperation for quarterbacks that we exist in right now. If they want him to go, someone will want him.
Yeah.
Period.
It sounds like It sounds like Philadelphia has kind of made the decision that it's going to be Carson Wentz. But
they came out and said it.
I don't know. I'm not completely sold that that's the right call because, like you said, at 2 years now, and Carson Wentz hasn't been healthy at the end for either one of them.
He plays very aggressive.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was banged up some in college too.
Okay.
So it's not fair to fix that.
I don't watch the Bison as much as one would think.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they're on like 3 times a year because they always.
I watched them put the hurt
go
on
through
Wofford
the playoffs.
one year. Yeah.
But you hate to affix that injury-prone label to a kid who's 23, 24. But
well, the next time he gets hurt, I won't be the one that needs to put it on there. It'll just be on there.
Excuse me. No, he'll have to wear that one like a scarlet letter if it happens again.
Nice literary reference. I don't know that you knew that was a literary reference, but still, that's a good job, man. Proud of you.
What's a literary reference? Like books?
Yes. There's a book called The Scarlet Letter. That's what you referred to.
I had no idea.
Really? Okay.
I heard the phrase, but I didn't know it was an actual book.
Yeah. Nathaniel Hawthorne. Not a good book. It's a pretty boring book. I mean, early American literature, not great. But
well, a lot of Nate's early works weren't that great. So let's get to it, man. The AFC and NFC title games are this weekend.
Old Nate Hawthorne.
Nate Hawkins. He's amazing.
Not Hawkins, Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
Yes.
Nate Hawthorne.
You get a little bit of everything here on the Border War.
I say. I only knew him as Hawkeye. The AFC, I think the NFC title game is first up. I guess we'll just come out and say it. The race to the top of the Border War picks list between BG and the TanMan appears to be over. 3 games left. I'll even throw in the Pro Bowl. We'll count 4 games left.
We're not picking the Pro Bowl.
Why not?
Don't give me that. I lost. Move on.
A 5-game difference in the standings right now. But we're going to continue on anyway because that's what you have to do.
Yeah. You play till the whistle blows.
Rams at the Saints.
But the whistle blows before the Pro Bowl. I'm telling you that.
There is no whistle. They just stop and the referees go.
I'm not picking a Pro Bowl. All right.
I might.
You go ahead. I'll put a cherry on top of that.
Pick the NFC.
Okay, just get to the game and quit talking to me.
Oh, man. Both of these games, the spreads are basically pick-em games. The home teams favored by the customary 3 points that home teams get. Saints get 3.5 at home against the Rams, BG.
Man.
So it's basically, these two games are basically who do you think is going to win?
These 2 games are both really, really tough. And, am I wrong? Or am I the only one? I keep thinking about this whole thing in terms of Super Bowl packages, right? I almost feel like I'm having to pick both teams simultaneously. Mm. I mean, there's certain combinations I just can't see happening. Does that make sense?
No, because I could see any of these combinations happening.
I don't mean from a football standpoint, though. I mean just
You mean just close your eyes.
You feel like you're either going to see the young guys go at it, or you're going to see, Brady and Breeze one more time kind of thing. Because remember, Drew Brees said before the season started that if he wins the Super Bowl, he's going to walk off the field for the last time. That's it.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what. How am I going to do this, man? I picked the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And now part of me wants to pick them to not even make it to the Super Bowl.
Listen, I'll go. You seem to be struggling.
I am with this.
I'll go first. The Saints have been everybody's, since about halfway through the season. These 2 teams are the 2 teams that everybody looked at in the NFC and said, okay, it runs through L.A. or it runs through New Orleans. We said all year long, if you got to go out west to play the Rams, you're going to take the Rams. On the flip side of that, anybody that comes to New Orleans.
If this was in New Orleans, I wouldn't have any trouble.
Well, it is in New Orleans. The game is in New Orleans.
You're right.
If you come to New Orleans, you're not beating the Saints in the Dome.
I had completely forgotten about that.
I'm taking the Rams. I saw what I saw Saturday night. I think this is an offense that knows who they are. The first time they played back in, week 9, the Saints were up by 3 touchdowns. late in the first half. The Rams kind of cut it in. They wound up tying the game up in New Orleans at 35 and kind of ran out of gas. They had to expend a lot of energy, get into a shootout. I think this one is much lower scoring. That one was 45-35 Saints. I'm going to take the Rams in this one and the points, and I'm going to say Rams win something like 31-28.
Even though I picked the Rams at the beginning of the season, I just think I'm going to have to go with the Saints. I'm just picturing, do I really think Drew Brees, and what very well might be his last season no matter what happens, do I really think that someone's going to come into New Orleans in front of that crowd and beat this guy? No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
On the AFC side,
especially since we're picking against the spread.
All right, fair. Listen, I'm fine. I'm fine. With anybody picking any of these four teams. I can be swayed either way.
At this point, I think what I'd like to see is a New Orleans Super Bowl win. I think as a fan, I think I'd like to see Drew Brees.
I've always liked Drew.
He's
never had any problem.
6 foot tall, obviously dealt with some adversity, and also what that city's been through. Capping that thing off, I could kind of appreciate that.
Okay,
I'd give it all back for a Redskins win, though. I mean, screw New Orleans.
Patriots at the Chiefs. This game is going to be like 6 degrees at kickoff. It's going to go from like 43 degrees on Friday to like 25 on Saturday, and by Sunday evening it's going to be like 6. This one was an absolute shootout up in New England way back in Week 6. The Patriots held on 43-40, but this is another game. The Patriots were up big at halftime. Kansas City cuts the lead down to 1 point after 3 quarters, and then it was on. Both of these games featured almost 1,000 total yards in them. New England at Kansas City, the old man and the up-and-coming Pat Mahomes. Listen, I'm taking I'm taking New England. I'm taking Tom Brady on the road. Listen, you want to be the man, you got to beat the man, and I just don't think that Tom Brady, if you saw him in that interview after the game Sunday, he is not ready to give up his throne atop the AFC. And I think you get a Chiefs or a Rams Patriots Super Bowl. The Patriots run started with a Rams Patriots Super Bowl.
It did.
And I think it's going to end with the Patriots avenging that Super Bowl loss way back 49 years
2001.
ago. 49 years ago when this thing started. I think the Patriots are going to get another crack at the Rams.
Well, I agree with half of what you said. I think we get a legend versus legend Super Bowl. Give me the Patriots and the Saints in Atlanta.
So Patriots and Saints.
But there's no question. I've got no problem picking the Patriots in this game. And it's Belichick, too. He is, especially having played Mahomes once, they're going to do some things that.
I think they're going to beat Kansas City by more than a touchdown.
They're going to get Pat Mahomes to turn the ball over.
Yep, I think they're going to
think Mahomes is going to get his. And don't worry. He's going to be holding that trophy up sooner rather than later. But it's not going to be this year. Pat Mahomes.
No.
But it's not going to be this year.
No. So that's it for episode 93. That is in the books. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Go enjoy some football this weekend. A lot of good games.
I mean, this Sunday, that's a great couple of games because last weekend didn't give us much.
No,
there was one good game, and even it was like all one way and then all the other.
I don't think you really got one good game. To be honest with you, I don't think ours
ended up with one good score. But the game itself.
I don't think ours was any good. The Chiefs blew out the Colts. The Patriots blew out and even the Saints and the Eagles. I mean, other than that first half, that first quarter, the Eagles didn't really have. They weren't really able to do anything against New Orleans. So
right, like I said, it was all Eagles.
Yep.
Then it was all Saints, and so that's not a great football game.
I've got a feeling we're in for a great weekend this weekend.
I agree with you there.
Go have a snack and watch some football.
It's time for a snack.
Let's go get a snack.
Some ghost peppers. Seneca Wallace loves ghost peppers.
Never say that name on this show again.